computer hacker. Okay. Let me treat your life like a computer hacker. May have a few friends with me, not the more and that. The close friends me have them solid as a rock. And me run the one them want come stab me on me back. And the one them when need me when them like what? You can't buy me friendship like a sucker even for me to a shop. And I buy back. If you still we have a picture for me with quarter. Yeah, you know me and you go we are back. Register me keep we have respect and manners. To all of me friends, them two words matter. Treat your life like a computer hacker. Mind them and they want step on your like ladder. Yeah, you know me and you go we are back. Yeah, you know me and you go we are back. All them want to be fruits from your labor and suck out your blood. Like Jack your What? If you treat your life like a computer hacker.
Hey everybody, what's up? Getting started here in just a minute. Settle on in, get a drink. That's what I'm doing. And I'll be right with you. All right, everybody, welcome on in. Happy Friday afternoon. It's time to paint some miniatures. So glad to have you all here. Glad that it's Friday. Hope you all have a beautiful weekend planned. So to catch you up, what we've been working on is, well, we started off with this a couple weeks ago, maybe like a week ago. Finished this up a couple days ago on stream. I'm pretty happy with where it turned out. It's actually looking really great. From there, we went and worked on some of the reinforcements for my mercenaries. So I got these all done up. This is addition to my merc unit I've been working on. I've had them for quite a while. They're inspired by the game MechWarrior 5, which I play quite a bit. And so yeah, there we go. That's where they're at right now. Pretty happy with how they turned out as well. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to shift back over to this is going to be the clan Wolf. So I've got 4 new friends for them. We've got the Phoenix Hawk 2C, which is a beast of an 80-ton mech. We've got the Linebacker, which, if I remember correctly, is actually a design that was created by Wolf's Dragoons. We've got the Gladiator, which everybody hates the Prime variant of the Gladiator, but there's actually some really good other variants of it that are quite effective. And then finally, the Ice Ferret, or colloquially known as the Ice Fridge, because it is very square. So we're going to start working on these. A couple things to note. A big portion of what I'm doing here, it is kind of a exercise in doing layering. So I've been really getting into the idea of wanting to learn and become really proficient with layering. I think it's one of the foundational skills of painting miniatures that I haven't really 100% mastered yet. You know, I've got a lot of other good skills, but this one I don't. So that's what I'm really going to be working on today, is working on some of the layering techniques and some of the other stuff. So glad to have you all. Looking forward to getting some good stuff done, and yeah, we'll kind of go from there. Oh, cool! I updated my gallery widget, and I don't know if this is actually the right one. I'm gonna have to look. I know on this view though it's the right widget. So if you don't know, I've also been building streaming utilities, I guess is the right way to put it. So right below my picture right now, right below my face, is my new follower social media carousel. So it has all my social media, as well as all of the stream events that happen, at least for Twitch. I haven't integrated it yet with YouTube or any of the other streaming services I'm using, but that's coming soon. We'll get that added in. And then the gallery widget that I have is one I've also created myself. And I did so because I wanted to have kind of a more interesting view, right? I think sometimes, if you use the standard one that comes with Stream Elements or OBS or stuff like that, it's really straightforward. It's just you get one transition type for everything, and I wanted it to be interesting. I wanted it to kind of surprise you once in a while, to do some cool stuff. So that's why I set out to create my own. Okay, so grab some. Still not 100% sure if I want to use the glaze and wash or if I want to use the one step. Both of them will do a glaze, and I haven't decided which one is I'm feeling the most. So we're gonna pull both of them out, and we'll go from there. We've also got, in fact, let me back up. I'm gonna back that camera up just a little bit, and get some palette paper. I've been really liking this palette paper lately, so I'm gonna stick with this. I've got this glass palette that I like using, but the disadvantage with using it is I have to go clean it off every time the paint dries on it. Whereas this, I can just go straight into it. All right, so I got some warm gray and some bright warm gray. Okay. And that probably sounds horrible. Might even shake the camera. Sorry about that. Need to move the vortex mixer somewhere else. I'm gonna go a couple drops of the glaze and wash. Trying to get the mix right, and I forgot paper towels. Okay, I think we're about where we want it to be. Let's try this on a big plate. Nope, I was gonna mess this all up. I got all excited and started with the wrong gray. Good thing I caught it. Okay. And so mostly right now, I'm just trying to cover about 3/4 of the panel, maybe a little bit more. And because we're glazing, I'm pulling the paint towards where I want the highlights to be.
House. This is 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 what we do. Okay. 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 Okay.
I'm just gonna throw these on. Makes life easier. Anybody got any big plans to get out and do some gaming this weekend? I run a league every once a month, so I'll be out. Got some of my players are out of town this month, so it'll be slightly smaller than we normally do, but it'll be fun. I'm gonna get some of my new mercs out on the table. We tend to play Battletech Alpha Strike. I do like the traditional like map-based classic Battletech, but have not played it as much in recent years. I tend to stick more towards the Alpha Strike side of things now. Battletech, or the classic Battletech though, is still pretty dang popular, especially in this area. So it gets lots of love. Next Friday I'll be traveling, so there'll be no stream next Friday.
After they came and destroyed the land,
Schedule updated for that.
there was one spark of hope left for all of mankind.
One thing about the palette paper over a wet palette, not quite as efficient, it will dry out. You have to remix your paint a few times. Don't like doing that, then the wet palette's going to be a better choice. And just one thing, like every time I hit an area that I've already gone over, I'm trying to not hit 100% of it, right? So just kind of a little bit less and less paint as we go. Give it a little bit of gradation towards whatever point I've selected for the highlight. And then also kind of just looking at the overall look. Does it look smooth? Do I need to go in and smooth anything out? And just being mindful that it's okay if it looks a little rough. That's fine. Every layer of painting doesn't have to be perfect. It's all about the final outcome. We're getting towards the end of the working life of this paint. It'll be time to mix up some more here in a sec. one's done. I'm gonna go wet my palette here real quick. All right, palette is re-wetted. Spray, a little more glaze wash. All right, once more into the breach. Right. I think we're good for that color on those legs. What I'm trying to decide is, do I want to go straight into... Yeah, let's give it a try. Let's take some of this. Oh.
You wanna turn me off. You wanna flip the switch. I wanna break the lock. I know what makes you tick. We used to be so young and free. Yeah, baby, don't treat me like a machine. I could still be just what you need. No, baby, don't treat me like a machine. Wanna go to your apartment, take it back to where we started. We'll be everything you wanted, you wanted, you wanted. And I know it could be
Really just focusing right now on making these highlights, so not covering too much.
so young and free. Yeah, baby, don't treat me like a machine. I could still be just what you need. No, baby, don't treat me like a machine. We used to be so young and free. Yeah, baby, don't treat me like a machine. I could still be just what you need. No, baby, don't treat me like a machine. Wanna go to your apartment, take it back to where we started. We'll be everything you wanted, you wanted, you wanted. And I know it could be perfect, and I know it would be worth it. We'll be everything you wanted, you wanted, you wanted, 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 you wanted, 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 you wanted, 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 wanted.
Let's get... I'm getting closer and closer to the level of transparency I'm looking for, but I'm not quite there. And part of the problem is really just how good Pro Acryl paints really are. Pro Acryl, I always say that wrong. And what I mean by that is they're so heavily pigmented that it just takes a lot to turn them transparent. Okay, so you can see get a nice gradient there. Sometimes they just play the same song over and over and over, and I don't know why. And it's even worse when it's one I don't like. Alright, I'm actually going to play around with some of the one-steps, see if this goes better. Yeah, I think I'm liking it better. Okay, yeah, it's starting to get some nice contrast going now. It's starting to look pretty good. Okay, get some more mixed up here real quick. Alright. Passes the thumb palette test. We're gonna have to go back and add some of these. Couple spots on feet, but otherwise the rest of it's coming along pretty good. In fact, I'm actually almost ready to move on to the next one. That's a good sign. So far, I've tried a couple different things. I've tried the glaze and wash medium and the one-step medium. I'm liking the one-step medium just a little bit better. Although to be fair, the paint already has some glaze and wash, so I don't know if it's a really appropriate test. Maybe getting a false positive. Filling in a little bit of that midtown. Last but far from least. Trying to make sure everything's got a nice little edge highlight. All that metallic effect. I've been neglecting the inside of this pig. I notice that happens sometimes, like, I don't know what it is, maybe you just forget to turn the model a certain way or something. And then the next thing you know, you look at it and you're like, oh, there's that whole spot there I never painted. Okay, I'm gonna call those legs done. On to the next one. Oh, that's not good. Glad he didn't fall on the pallet. Oh yeah, this is a in-universe reference. This is the Clan Wolf Beta Galaxy. So it's probably one of their more famous unit colors. So this is one of my finished ones, and you can see I've got the Clan Wolf decals on it. It's the brown's probably a little lighter than the unit in universe. Also, thank you for that follow, Glazeth. I totally missed that as I was into it. But yep, totally an in-universe. I just finished up some different models I've got. Actually, they're still here. These are a unit that I made up. This is my mercenary unit. Yeah, I've been sleeping on Clan Wolf for quite a while, and I decided it was finally time to break down and do some. Yeah, man, Clan Hell Horses is one that's been on my list for a while. They've got some really cool unit colors, and I really like them because of their combined arms tactics that they like to do. I have a lot of combined arms units that I do, so I love it. That and the whole like kind of story. Like I don't know how into the lore you are. Sounds like you probably are pretty far into it. The whole thing with them and the Jade Falcons and the Mongol Doctrine, and that was actually some pretty cool fiction there, that they were pissed off because Malvina Hazen stole the Mongol Doctrine from them and then turned it into something awful. Yeah, I've got some Jade Falcons I painted up for aces, which has actually that was a fun campaign to play through. I'm probably going to end up playing it a second time. I'm really looking forward to the second version of Aces. I think it's supposed to come out this year. Yeah, miniature painting is always like a process of improvement. That's actually one of the things, like a lot of times when I pick a color scheme, I'll try to decide like, hey, what am I going to improve? And this one I'm intentionally working on trying to learn layering techniques. I've always kind of struggled getting my paint transparent enough for good layering technique, so that's what we're doing right now, is trying to get that to be a really well-defined skill. Yeah, I don't know if you read any of the or listened to. I actually like the audiobooks personally, so I listen to a lot of stuff. But any of the modern like Ill Clan era stuff, there's a lot of good things in there. And yeah, Hell's Horses were not a big fan of Alvina Hazen. As many people weren't, because she was, or will be, a monster. Depends on how you want to look at it. No, I've gone the other direction. I've gone slightly too transparent, which is good. Yeah. 200, give or take a few thousand. There's so many books, so much lore in the Battletech universe. I think it's pretty overwhelming at first, but there's some really good stuff. There's a few you could sleep on too, but Grey Death Legion was so good. In fact, I saw somebody on Instagram post some Grey Death Legion mechs, and I thought, you know, I think I'm gonna have to paint some Grey Death Legion. I think it would be a lot of fun to paint. And Cranston, how you doing? Good to see you again. No, you don't need to read it. No, good. Yeah, and it also depends on like what eras you like. It's one of the cool things, you can actually play Battletech almost as a historical war game now, where you can pick a time period and just stick to it. I've been trying to pull my gaming group kicking and screaming into the Ill Clan era, mostly because I'll be honest, it's self-serving. I really like the Regent mech. I got a Regent in like one of the packs that I bought, and it is an Ill Clan era mech, and it's so freaking cool that I'm like, we gotta play Ill Clan, guys. Oh, nice. You're giving me FOMO for Gen Con. I hate to admit it, I've never been, and I know it's like pretty important part of, you know, gaming. I don't know, gaming, I'm trying to come up with where they're like maybe gaming culture, I think is what I'm going for. No, Adepticon's a little bit closer for me, but it'd be fun to get out there one of these. Yeah, like the Dark Age is an interesting time period. It was a cool idea. It was kind of the way for Topps to try to take possession of the universe, you know, because that happened right after they bought it and they did their clicky game and stuff. And I had a ton of those clicky mechs. I really wanted to love that game, and it had some interesting mechanics. It was okay for a while. But yeah, the way that they I don't know, just the idea of everyone giving up their mechs was a little hard to swallow, knowing the Battletech universe as I do. But there is some really good fiction there. The idea of the Republic of the Sphere and the Paladins has always really resonated with me. I always thought that was a pretty cool idea, and the Paladin mechs are awesome. And then Jihad, well, it either gives you a reason to really love or really hate the Word of Blake. And it depends on how you feel about that. In fact, I was just playing MechWarrior 5 last night, and I did a mission for the Word of Blake, and the whole thing kind of like I wasn't sure how to feel about it, but they were paying and were mercs, so I didn't care.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
It's so absurd to me. Things that you said that left a burn on me. I can't find my way without you. I can't find my way without you.
Oh, yep. Yeah, and that is actually part of the interesting, it isn't all just cut and dry. And they actually touch a little bit on that even in some of the Ill Clan fiction as well. Oh, yep. Yeah, that's a great example. Right. Just about happy with that. Time to shift to brighter gray. And I think it's time for more of our one-step medium. I think it's actually working. I like how it's working for the layering, so I'm gonna, or the glazing, layering, glazing, same thing. I'm gonna stick with it. I would imagine Sarna has got something. If you haven't found sarna.net yet, it's a really great place to go rabbit hole on Battletech for a while. But I would imagine there's got to be a pretty significant amount of info on there about what to read when and what storylines are what. Yeah, it's a technique I have never been as good at as I want. Darn it, by the time I am done with these mechs, I'm at least going to be passable at it.
It's better if I let you go. You'll be better off.
Really just trying to keep this to a highlight. I think it needs a little bit more. Medium. Yeah, Cranston, give me just a second.
Like an open door in every way I could have seen it going there. Will it end this way? I framed the night like it's hopeless love. Realize we couldn't have it all.
Oh, let's see what I can do about it. One sec. Oh, you were slightly too fast. Try again. Darn it. Sorry, I have overly aggressive bots. Will you just whisper it to me and I'll post it? I permitted you, but apparently that wasn't enough for whatever bot is being a jerk there. Perfect. I'll post that in just a sec. Sorry about that. I'll have to figure out my own bots. Yeah, I really wish they would do a better job with that because I like a lot of the I prefer Audible because I can listen to it while I do stuff like this. I'm actually right now I'm on like book 5 of Dungeon Crawler Carl. But yeah, with the Battletech stuff, just really hard to figure out what you should be listening to. Very wet. Oh. Yeah, thank you, Granston. Appreciate you finding that for him. Have either of you got any games planned this weekend? I gotta put together a list for my game on Sunday. Nice. Glazes, do you prefer Classic or Alpha Strike? Yeah, that's the only thing. Like, I love the idea of Classic, but it is hard to actually get games finished sometimes. I'm curious if that'll change at all with the new edition coming out. I'm actually really looking forward to that box set just for the miniatures in it. That's next month. Yeah, it's definitely what you lose with Alpha Strike is the granularity. But I like playing with large units So when I was a kid, when I was like 14, I had a cousin that had come back from the military, and him and his wife, his wife like would paint all of the miniatures. He had a huge collection. And we would do, it was right when the Clan Invasion book first came out, and in the middle of the Clan Invasion book, it had mapless rules, or hexless rules, so you just played, on a full table. And like we would get all the kids in the family together. We'd start at like 10 o'clock in the morning. We'd end at like midnight. And I think I just fell in love with like big company battles. So that was really cool. Yeah. So you think that's going to be hard to teach people, Cranston, then? Because you've got like all the advanced tech you got to deal with? Like, because it's an actual Eel Clan set, right? The idea there. Because I think that's what, if I understand correctly, that's what Catalyst is really trying to do, is to bring the whole game into that era. Which I definitely approve of, but I know it's challenging. Move that out. Yeah, or someone needs to do... Yeah, like it's probably pretty awful if you're like throwing like reflective armor at people and stuff like that. Battletech, the classic Battletech needs the Jeff's Battletech treatment. And to be fair, I know Jeff's actually has a Battletech component, but I've never used it, so I don't know if it's quite to the same level that it works for Alpha Strike. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I mean that's the Oakland era, right? You all have F-35s now. Like 3025 when we were just cobbling mechs together with baling wire and duct tape. And we were happy with what we had, darn it. For some reason, one of my voice assistants really liked that idea. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Like, if you know you've only got, maybe 30 minutes of somebody's time, you're competing for all the other stuff going on at a convention. You need to get them in, get them hooked. It's noisy, there's other stuff going on. I think it makes sense to keep it as down and simple as you can, right? Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you really want to, you can just skip the mechs altogether, go get a bunch of warships, and just nuke each other's planet. Battletech will accommodate it all. Yeah, and I think the abstracted rules for a lot of the Ill Clan technology in Alpha Strike is a lot easier to deal with. A lot of the, you know, weapon rules just really kind of go away. They're not really as clear, which isn't always a good thing, but it does make it a little bit easier that way. Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. Then you get a nice variety. And I think that's where Alpha Strike really shines, is in the combined arms. I really like the one side of this leg, and the other side of this leg I don't like at all. Okay. Keep wandering off camera there. I like where it's going. I think it's starting to look pretty good. I'm gonna move on to the next one. So how many cons a year do you go to with the demo team? All right. Time for the ice fridge. Or this is a small con. Apparently I'm like totally in frame now. You don't want to see what I'm painting, you'd rather see the top of my head, wouldn't you? Yeah, 4 is a lot. Do they pay your way, or is that kind of on your own dime? I don't know, is that like an official Catalyst position, or is that more of a volunteer thing? Oh, nice. 2 small ones scattered. You know, I recently saw a post. I don't remember where it was from, but it was actually some folks in Ireland playing a decent sized Battletech event. It was kind of cool because they were like basically like in a big pub, which so one of the other things I do, I play Irish traditional music, and I was in Ireland last October. We went to a lot of pubs, and which makes sense, and it was pretty cool. I loved seeing like the people playing Battletech in the pub. That was, I wish I'd have run into that in person. What part of Ireland are you in, if you're comfortable with me asking? Oh, I keep putting my head in the way. Must have shifted my position just slightly. I'm trying to imagine a quarter of a hotel room. Does that mean you stay with 4 people? Or does that mean you just pay the other 3/4? Okay, up in Dublin. Yeah, I was down in... We flew into Shannon, and then I spent most of the time down in Ennis. County Clare. Went out to... Oh gosh, we were all over the place. Out to Ennis Stuyman for a little while. It was fun. It was a good trip. That's not bad then. I have a buddy of mine. Apparently, he did that a really long time ago when they were still doing the clicky game. And apparently, one of the pilot cards for the clicky game was actually a likeness of him. That was fun. You know, I just realized that the title of this stream is Slay the Gray, and I'm actually just adding more gray to the world. But at least it's properly shaded and highlighted gray, so that makes it okay, right? Oh yeah, yeah, there's actually some good DCMS stuff on this. That's actually one of the next units I'll be doing. I've already got 2 companies. I've of course got the Sword of Light because painting red is fun. And then I have a multitasking here. I've got I've got a Ghost Regiment unit, and then eventually I'm considering doing. I'm trying to think what the third one is. They are all gray. I'm Ganyosha. I'm probably mispronouncing that because I'm awful. But yeah. Because I've got the 2 Krita lance boxes that they did this last year, well, in the last year, and I haven't painted them up yet, so I've been kind of waiting. I want to do a cool samurai looking unit. I originally created them as Op4 for my Ghost Bears. I think I have more of them painted than Ghost Bears at this point. Yeah, the new pilot cards. Yeah, I was talking about the old ones they did for the clicky game. Yeah, the new pilot cards are good for either. I haven't really used many cards in Alpha Strike. I tend to play more by the Wolfnet rules. I think it's the one thing that Alpha Strike really needs is a good list building resource, and I think the Wolfnet team done a really good job with that. No offense to Catalyst, because actually, if I understand correctly, I think them and Catalyst have started doing a lot of collaboration and are using them for some playtesting and stuff as well. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I run a lot of the local stuff that I do. I run under WolfNet rules. Technically the wrong color, but I'm gonna go for it. I like it because they've got the list building. I think their scenarios are actually pretty well done. I really love the way that they flow the game. Then they put terrain placement as a tactical decision you have to make at the beginning of the game. I think that's actually really interesting. Yeah, Glazeth, I think I've just played so many like large scale games. Like, you know, I played a lot of Warhammer 40k stuff like that over the years that I just naturally want to paint large units. I think I'm just stuck doing it. It's an addiction now. Darn it! Sorry, I keep putting my head in the way. Darn it! Sorry, I keep putting my head in the way. Like a veritable planetoid. Like a veritable planetoid. I'm intentionally skipping like the heat sinks and stuff. I've been kind of enjoying painting those, like they're actually venting steam or they're hot. So if you're wondering why I'm skipping all that stuff, we'll paint those later. Oh, it's always sad when you find out it's like the last book. Hopefully it's been a good series though. I don't know that I've heard of that one. There's so much out there. But I will be looking for more when my current series is. I've still got like 4 books, 4 books left. Is the series called Twilight of the Clans? Oh, hey, look. Did it again. There's a whole like section I haven't painted at all, but it's okay. I'm used to it by now. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's definitely a lot of standalone fiction out there right now. Actually reminds me, I gotta see if Brian Young's done any more of the series I've been listening to. I don't know if he did them all, but there's a series set in the Rasselhag Dominion. During the Ill Clan, which I'm both really mad at what they did to the Dominion during Ill Clan and also think it's really well written, so I don't know what to do about that. Did it? I'm gonna let's go find that. Is it on Audible yet? Probably not. I have noticed that their release schedule for Audible is a little slow, but that's okay. It makes sense. They're a small company. Right? Yeah, the first one was a little weird. I'm trying to remember what happened in the second one. I might actually be in the middle of the second one and got distracted. It's been a very distracting. So the solo play is Aces, and it is all set in Alpha Strike. They haven't done solo play yet for the classic Battletech. Although I've heard people have used the Aces rules for classic Battletech and have been able to get along okay. Though I have heard rumor we will eventually get a new Aces book, which I'm sure Cranston can neither confirm nor deny. Or sorry, not a new Aces book, a new Alpha Strike book. Yeah, Aces, like, Alpha Strike is just a much easier game system to abstract. Than Classic, right? There's just so many more variables. Although I'm sure, like, what is it, Linvander Studios? They're really good. I almost bought the Clicky ship game because of them, but I didn't need any more stuff. Snap ships, I think it's called. They did a system for that. They did a system for the old X-Wing. Well, yeah, I really cannot suggest Aces anymore. I think everything they did with that, the models are great, the rules are great, the cards are well done. There's just so many good things to say about Aces. I'm really super excited for the Ghost Bear box that I think is still slated for coming out this year. It was at one point, I'm sure it was for sure, but then I know there's just been so much weirdness in the world. It's quite possible it's hit them a little bit there. Yeah, I've got 2 sets of the terrain. I hand built the terrain. Let me. I hand built some. I've actually got it under the desk here in styrofoam, and then this is the 3D printed STLs that they sell online. I'm trying to think of who sells these right now. Battle. Well, I think it's technically Hextech that does them. I've got a whole set of it. There's this. There's the rivers. Actually, I just printed out a set for my buddy. It's great stuff. Really, really good. I'm kind of want to do a fully painted playthrough, because I've got all the terrain, I've got trees, I've just got to paint up some buildings, and then kind of considering might actually try to do some battle reports. I've never filmed a battle report before, but I've got time right now, so I'm kind of thinking I might want to do it. But yeah, it's really cool stuff. And the terrain, for the most part, the terrain that's in the box, the cardboard stuff, is actually pretty well done. All right, so that's 3 out of 4 mechs. And actually, I've already improved. I think I like the legs on these better than what I did on the original. Yeah, so the thing about me and terrain, that's my favorite part of gaming, is building the little worlds. So I've got this massive collection of game terrain that I've been putting together, and that's half the reason I like running events, is so I can bring my terrain in, we can play and just have a cool a cool terrain to play on, cool little world. So I geek out about it. All right, so I'm gonna finish up the gray on the legs here, and then I think that'll be about the end of the day. So probably another, oh, this is a big one, so probably another 30-40 minutes, and then we'll call that for this beautiful Friday. And then Monday, when I'm on to stream, we'll start working through the upper body. We'll just start doing all of that. And I think with what I've learned at this point, that should start going a little bit quicker. We'll be on to the finishing details. And then unfortunately we'll have to figure out what to paint. Might be time for that company of Kurita, but don't quote me on that. Be a game time decision, that's for sure. Interesting, because, well, yeah, I guess the 3130s is probably the end of the Republic era that they did. But yeah, I would have thought that 3070 to 3130 would have been a bunch of like the Jihad stuff, but that was a time period where I wasn't really playing a lot of Battletech. I played pretty heavily all the way up through the Dark Ages. I took quite a few years off. Kind of got back into it when I started playing MechWarrior 5. Really started enjoying the universe again. Found a good community here locally. And sadly, my friend that was organizing a lot of the events, he passed away. And so I kind of took on the mantle because I really wanted to keep going what he had created. Now, why I'm at least running events at least once a month. And when I got back into it, Ill Clan was in full swing, so I just jumped right in and said, cool. Ill Clan it is. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to check that out after the stream, and I'll probably post it in my Discord as a resource as well. Because I think that's really useful to have around. I'm always asking that question, like, oh, do I have the right book? I ran into that with the Hour of the Wolf stuff. There was a lot of different fiction that was written to kind of cover that entire period, and I found it a little confusing. I think I'm still actually missing a book or two. In fact, I know I am, because there's at least one major period in there that I'm missing. Ooh, that's good. The Irish are very calm people until they're not. Right. I feel you. Yeah, when you're like, I just need it to make sense and to be complete. Why is it not complete? I mean, I just know from like what I read in like the Hour of the Wolf stuff, it felt like there was a lot going on in that time period. I think we're just about done with the mid-tone gray. And ready to move on to the next one. Hand is a little tight after holding that paintbrush for so long. Two-second break here. Finish off the caffeine to power me through the last little bit here. I don't know about Thumper Knox. I'll have to look for them. Actually, no, I think I followed Thumper Knox. Is he in Australia? I think a lot of what you get, the most popular one, the one that'll get you the most interest, obviously, is all the 40K stuff. For good reason. They're a big company. They put out really good product. At least really great miniatures. Ramius? Alright, I'll keep my eye open for some of them as well. One step. Yeah, and I don't always do Battletech. I actually was doing some fantasy miniatures for a board game that I have. But Battletech is kind of one of my favorites, so I'll be working on them for a while. Yeah, I mean, their hold on the market makes sense. They've positioned themselves there, and their models are excellent. But I agree with you. I like to see a lot of other stuff. I try to watch many of the painters. The only stuff I really don't get into, and I haven't got into yet, and I probably just don't understand it well enough, is a lot of the Gunpla stuff. Nothing against Gundam. In fact, actually, the latest Gundam series they did, like Requiem for a Dream or something, I really liked. But I was a Battletech or a Robotech kid, and so their version of Mecha has always just made more sense to me. Which is obviously where, or maybe not obvious if you don't know this, but that's where the tie-in to Battletech came from. Yeah, for a minute, because you can actually get the miniatures right now for the Gundam miniature game. And I got really close. I was like, I go chase those down. Because if you get the, there's a Gundam card game that came out fairly recently in the last few months. They're packaged with those models, and I got really close. I backed away from that cliff. But might not be permanent. You never know. I blame old Rogue Hobbies for it because she got me super excited. She's a real good salesperson when she makes her videos. Yeah, I agree. I like the idea of a mech as more like the walking tank vibe than, I don't know, almost like piloted kaiju. Is that a thing? Doesn't even make sense. Yeah, she does. She's so good. I am a fan. Yeah, exactly. And you know, I'll also admit, like I always had like always a big fan of like the knight in shining armor trope. Definitely get that vibe off of Battle Maxes. Exactly. And you can even have the best of both worlds. You can pilot like a Scorpion or a Goliath, and it really is a tank that walks. Oh man, I remember like I kind of get triggered by the industrial mechs just because like I said, I did play during the Dark Ages, and there was a short period of time where that was like the only mechs in Dark Ages were the industrial mechs. Was truly a dark age. All right. Fresh here. Alrighty, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out, Blaze Up. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you, and thanks again for that follow. I will be back on Monday and Wednesday next week. Getting close. Trying to decide. I think I need some more edge highlighting on a few of these, and I'll like it a little bit better. We'll work on the back of these legs for help. Hi. Doggle break time. Yeah, you done working, dude? My dog just came to tell me he had a very long work day. Really tough. Hangs out in my wife's office all day. Hard life being a working dog. Just smoothing things out. Really close to where I like it. Not quite. Really close to where I like it. Not quite.
Let it wash away
Okay. Pretty close. I got the inside of one leg that I'm not liking. So we're gonna go. Moment. This one. Have at least partially neglected. Tell me what you do. All right. I think got to the point where I'm going to be happy with it for now. Still want to push at it a little bit, but we'll come back at it with fresh eyes here in a couple of days. See how I feel about it then. But I think we did pretty good. I think we got as far as I had hoped we would be able to. For those of you that are just joining along for this, this is where we started. So this is my test paint job. This is the Beta Galaxy of Clan Wolf. And when we're putting together another star now for it, so this is the rest of the star that we're putting together. I did Pro Acryl one step, so I airbrushed on the gray and the brown, and just finished up the layering on the legs for all of them on Monday. At no later than 2 p.m. Pacific time, I'll be on to start doing the rest of the brown on the upper body. Until then, thanks all for joining. It was great to have you all here. There is a few of us here. Do any of you have a favorite streamer? Is there somebody on that you want to raid over to? I'd be happy to do that. Haven't seen who all's on. Just taking a look here really quick, seeing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and raid. We got Painterly Git. Looks like a similar kind of a small size audience. So doing some drawing right now. Hopefully that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then thanks everyone for being here. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Have a good one.